Hey guys, I'm hoping that you have printed out this worksheet that I've attached to my school. It's called Surface Area of Prisms and Cylinders. If you have not done that yet, please pause the video and go do that and then come back. So we are going to do problems 2, 4, and 5 together, and then I would like you to do 3, 7, and 9 alone. And then I'm going to ask you to send me a picture of the worksheet. We will do problems 1, 6, and 8, but we're going to do all 3 of them together. They require, actually you could probably do 8 on your own, but I'm going to do it with you. But they definitely require a lot more thought, especially 1 and 6. They both require some trig to do. So we will definitely do those together. Okay, so let's take a look at problem number 2, and there is absolutely not enough room on this sheet to do these problems. Actually, my answer key has it all really squished in there, but I'm just going to recommend that you do it on a separate sheet of paper. So what it's asking us to do is find the surface area of this box right here. It has a height of 7 centimeters, a width of 13 centimeters, and a depth of 8 centimeters. And you can see from how it's drawn that this is a rectangular face right here. In fact, all of them are rectangular faces. So the first thing I want you to do, and again, it would probably be a good idea to pause the video right here, is to draw a net of that. And again, there was a video that I made you watch on Tuesday on nets, and that is if I were to flatten that out, what would that look like? So I'm going to attempt to draw a net of that. So, and sorry, this tripod is not going to be all that cooperative here, but so if I were to do that, I would take, and I'm looking at this base right here, and I'm going to start and draw that right here, the bottom that the box is sitting on. This is 8 in this direction and 13 in this direction. And then from that, again, as I'm unfolding it, I would have this front face like that, right there. That is also 13 in width, but now this is 7 because that is the height of that box. And then there's another face that looks like, oops, there's another face that matches the big one. Again, I'm not sure how this is going to be. We're going to fit all this on here. Okay, this is also the 8. And then another one like this. So bottom, top, front face, back face. But then remember that there are going to be those 2 faces that stick out on the side, right? And those, let me just show you the picture again. Sorry, this is not the most efficient way. It's these 2 right here, all right, on the sides. So they're going to connect at the spot where we've got this 7 foot or 7 centimeter height, and it's going to extend out 8 centimeters. All right, so on my box where we've got the 7 centimeter height, I'm going to extend out 8 centimeters right here. And I'm going to do it on the opposite side too. Now again, this isn't necessarily super accurate. It's not intended to be super accurate, but just to give us an idea of what the faces are that we need to find the area of. So when I do this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I need to find 2 areas that look like this, 2 areas for things that look like this, and 2 areas for things that look like this. So I'm just going to write that the surface area is made up of 2 of the big ones, 2 of the, well, let's say, instead of big, because the side ones are going to be relatively close. So let's say 2 top and bottom, plus 2 of the front and back, and 2 of the left-right ones. And again, these are all the same size. The top and bottom are the same size. The front and back are the same size. The left and right are the same size. So let's do the top and bottom. And again, that was these 2 right here. So 2 of those that are rectangles. So the area is length times width, and their length is 13 and their width is 8. So 13 times 8 plus 2 of the front and back. That's these right here. And again, if you want to label them, that might be helpful. This is top and bottom. This is front and back. And this is left side, right side. Right? So front and back, we're going to have two of them, and their dimensions are, in this direction, that is the 13. And we see that right here. So 13, and then this is 7. So two that are 13 by 7. And then two, the left, right, those are 8 by 7 right here. So two that are 8 by 7. Right, if we do that, we get, let's see, I did bring my calculator with me this time. So we've got 2 times 13 times 8. That gives me 208 for this part. Plus 2 times 13 times 7. That gives me 182 for this part right here. And then 2 times 8 times 7. 8 times 7 is 56 times 2 is 112. Let me just confirm that. Yep, okay, and then we add them all together. So 112 plus 182 plus 208. And we get a surface area of 502. Now remember, these were in centimeters, and surface area is an area, and so it's in 2 dimensions, so this is squared. 502 centimeters squared. All right, now, do you have to draw the net? No, but you do have to think about all the sides or all the faces that you need to find the area of. So if you don't want to take the time to draw that, that's fine, but do remember that you have to find the area of this top and bottom and multiply it by multiply by 2, one for the top, one for the bottom. You do have to find the area of the front and back, and they're the same, so you have to do it twice. And then the left side and the right side, again, same area for each of them, so find the area of one and then double it. All right, so if you choose to draw a net, that's fine. If you choose not to, that's fine, but you need to make sure that you break it down so that you say, hey, I need to find all of this, and then add them together. Okay, in number, we're going to skip number 3 because it's almost identical to number 2. I'm going to ask you to do that one on your own. In fact, this one's a little bit easier because there's no difference between any of the faces. All right, so it's actually a little bit easier. We don't have to think about 3 sets of pairs. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. So for problem number 4, you're asked to find the surface area of this triangular prism. Again, remember, a prism is a shape whose sides are all rectangular. They have identical top and bottom faces, and those are parallel to each other, right? So when we think about what this is going to look like, we've got one face right here and another face right here that are identical. I'm going to draw them as 2 rectangles. They hinge right here, so I can draw them connected to each other, and they are going to be, this is going to be the height of the prism. It's 10, and then this is 5, and then we're going to draw another one here that's going to connect to it. That's the same thing, right? Now the back face right here, right, is not going to be the same size. It still will have the height of 10, but it's definitely going to be longer. How can I tell that? Well, because if you look at the base right here, it is a right triangle, which means it's going to have 2 legs that are 5 yards each, and a hypotenuse, which has to be longer than those 5 yards. So this can't be the same. This would be the hypotenuse right here. So this is leg, leg, hypotenuse. This happens to be a special right triangle. We can tell that because both of the legs are the same size, so it must be a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So you should be able to, without too much work, figure out what that is. Think about that for a second. All right, if you came up with 5 root 2, you are exactly correct, because if we draw that triangle, 5 and 5, remember we call this x and this x, and then this would be x root 2. All right, so since x is 5, it's 5 root 2. Now, if you forgot about that, if you didn't feel like thinking about it that way, you could always do Pythagorean theorem to find that the length of that hypotenuse. right, and then attached to these sides right here, we're going to end up with a triangle coming out here and a triangle coming out here. Let me think about if I drew those correctly. Yes, that would be correct. Okay. So this is also 5, because again, once you fold this up, this has to attach to here, and that's 5. And then this right here is going to be 5 root 2, and this is going to be 5. And same thing over here, that's 5, 5, and 5 root 2. All right, now that means that when we go to find the surface area of this shape, one last look at that. Actually, you have the worksheet in front of you, so you can keep looking at it. But when we do that, then the surface area is going to be 2 of the rectangles that are formed by the legs of the triangle, and then 1 of the rectangles that's formed by the hypotenuse, and then 2 of these triangles right here. So 2 triangles. All right, so we just have to make sure that we consider all of those things as we're finding our surface area. So 2 of the rectangles that come from the leg side, the 5 side, these would each be, again, it's a rectangle, so it's length times width. It's going to be 10 times 5, plus 1 rectangle that comes from the hypotenuse. That's going to be 1, you can skip that part if you want, 1 times 10. Right, this direction is 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. I didn't write it, but it's 10 the whole way down, times 5 root 2, plus 2 of the triangles. All right, for our triangles, remember this is 1/2 base times height. All right, our base is this 5. Actually, you can look at it here. That might be easier to look at it from that point. It's 1/2 the base, which is 5, times the height, which is 5. And again, we need 2 of them, 1 for this one, 1 for this one. Okay, let's do it. So we get, this is 5 times 10 is 50, times 2 is 100. This is going to be 1 times 10 is 10, 10 times 5 root 2 is 50 root 2. Remember our conversation about outies times outies, those are okay, but innies don't get to combine. So it's the 5 times the 10 is 50 times the root 2, plus, I'm going to do these 2 first. 2 times 1/2, these will just cancel out, and we end up with 5 times 5 is 25. And I'm going to add the whole numbers first. I'm going to do as much as I can by hand before I get my calculator. So this is 125 plus 50 root 2. Now, if it said give the exact answer, you would stop there. You cannot combine because this has a root 2, but this does not. It would be similar to if you had 125 plus 50x. These are not like terms because this has the x and this doesn't. Same thing here. These are not like terms because this has the root 2 and this doesn't. All right, but the answers say round your, the directions say round your answers to the nearest hundredth if necessary. It is necessary, and we're going to change this. So we're going to do in the calculator 125 plus 50 times the square root of 2. And I get 195.71, and it was yards. And it is surface area, so this is going to be yards squared. Okay, I'm going to stop here, and then I will come back in a minute, and I will do problem number 5 with you.